Hi everyone, this is a video by Mike O'Hearn. I don't know how that's pronounced. It's some bodybuilder. He's been showing up on my front page for some reason recently. Um, I decided to review one of his videos. This one seemed interesting. The number one superfood you need for longevity. Let's see.
Today, it seems like fats are like the ultimate superfood or something.
Depends on the fats. If you mean like the quote unquote fat from like avocados or seed oils, of course, seed oils are poison. Like everyone knows that, I feel like. Hopefully, everyone knows that. If you mean like the fats from avocado, that's kind of useless. I wouldn't say it's harmful for you, it's just empty calories, kind of.
People.
So in terms of essential nutrients, protein, I think, is paramount.
Okay.
Look at this woman, bro, talking about health. God damn it. Oh my god, the shit people will listen to. Look at her, man. She's gonna die, but like she looks disgusting. There's just skin and bone. The eyes are sunken in. There's 2 tons of makeup on her face. The eyebrows are drawn on. Does she even have hair here? It's just no. She just wrote that with a pen.
Essential fatty acids, you don't need that many. In terms of it,
You don't need that many essential fatty acids. Our ancestors actually ate broccoli and cauliflower, and also they ate lettuce, and they made themselves salads, and they ate avocado and bread. That's what our ancestors ate to be strong, tall, healthy, have good bones, develop large skulls and big brains.
being a superfood, I
I
would
don't
very
know about that.
hesitant, be
Very
hesitant to
hesitant about that. No, 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 no.
say that is.
I've learned a lot over the 4 decades of health and
You look absolutely abnormal. You've learned nothing. You have learned zero. Zero amount of things learned.
fitness and
You
being
look
in the
disgusting.
trenches with the greatest in the world. And one of those things I've learned a lot more about and how to build better muscle is nutrition and how it has changed over the and how to build better muscle.
That gut is protruding a bit. Not that badly. He has huge boobs. There's definitely breast tissue development here. Just disgusting arms. Like there's nothing to be said about the arms. Looks disgusting.
This in the world.
He probably can't even straighten his arms, which would actually be detrimental if you lived in nature. Like you would die if you didn't have the right mobility of your arms.
And one of those things I've learned a lot more about and how to build better muscle is nutrition and how it has changed over the decades. And that's why I have
That is correct though. Nutrition is how you build muscle, not exercise.
the Titan meal plan for you guys out there that are confused about nutrition.
Like if you're mentally deranged and for some reason you want to build muscle, you're gonna build more muscle eating meat.
I'm going to set you
Obviously.
straight. Get a hold of me today. The link will be in the comments down below for
he's
you guys.
promoting something?
Everybody, get over to the Titan meal plan,
course he
and
is.
I'll see you in the
What's on this plate? Some grain sludge, some other sludge, some green leaves, flowers.
Titan crew,
whatever.
where I will fine tune any difficulties that you're having.
All right, so let's jump into something that's very toxic.
Oh no, not toxic.
Yeah.
Toxic human broccoli.
I talked about
What?
protein and how important red meat is. And I believe it's a superfood.
That's right.
And I think that protein, for me, should always be in that.
Yes, but what they don't understand is it's not the protein. Like red meat doesn't only have protein. It has so many stuff. Like first of all, even macronutrients wise, red meat doesn't only have protein. It has ton of fat. Red meat is depending on the cut and the animal, of course, but it's still like it has a lot of saturated fat, it has a lot of protein, and it does have some carbohydrates too stored in the muscle, but that depends. That's not a significant amount, so let's not count that. But even just looking from the macronutrients perspective, it's not just protein. There's a lot of fats too, a lot of essential fatty acids, omega 3s, all the fats that you will need. And what people don't get is protein isn't protein. All protein is comprised of different amino acids. Red meat, for example, has quite some taurine, which is really good for you. And not to, there's no need to even mention the micronutrients. Red meat has tons of micronutrients, fat soluble vitamins, water soluble vitamins, everything. Of course, if you cook it severely, you destroy all of the water soluble vitamins and a lot of the fat soluble vitamins.
Meal plan. And then you can play with your carbohydrates.
I agree. And I think the data would support that.
Oh.
The data
He's so out of breath, man. Why do people do this to themselves?
would support
The data says
Well, protein.
red meat shuts you down, or protein shuts you down. It's not good for you. You got to fast.
The data doesn't say that.
Oh, who says that?
People like her say that.
Other individuals, but the data does not support that protein is bad for you. In fact, all the data would suggest that a more optimal protein diet is better for all biomarkers, body composition.
More protein is, the data shows more protein is better for you because what they take as protein is red meat. If you would feed someone chickpeas, for example, chickpeas have a lot of protein too, for a plant, of course. Chickpeas have a lot of protein too. Feed someone chickpeas, they're gonna be extremely unhealthy. And they would say, it depends on the protein. It's not about the protein, it's about the micronutrients. I don't get how they don't understand that.
And everything.
But of course, when you're this skinny, I don't imagine any energy goes to the brain.
So when does carbohydrates come in and come out?
When you're an athlete. As an individual who's well trained, if you're sitting around eating bonbons on the couch and not training, negative, Houston.
Okay, Heath Evans. All right. Okay, gotcha. All right, I gotcha.
But for carbohydrate use, again, carbohydrates are not the enemy. If you're training, for my patients, we give them carbs. It depends.
Depends on the carbohydrate. Of course, if you're eating rice, that's terrible, full of arsenic, that's gonna kill you. If you eat raw honey, in moderation, of course, in nature you wouldn't have constant access to carbohydrates. If you eat a ton of carbohydrates, you're gonna rot your teeth. You're gonna develop, you can still develop insulin resistance. Well, I doubt that actually. From like raw honey and fruits, insulin resistance. Yeah, that's not gonna happen probably, but no matter how much you eat, but still, you're still gonna gain weight, especially if you're not active. Not that you should be active. Not that I'm saying you should
whether
be
it's
active.
before or after training, but I wouldn't necessarily
Just don't eat that many carbohydrates.
not give them carbs throughout the day if they're highly metabolically engaged in their world.
So what's going on then with, because it's funny, I always talk to, everybody's a little different, but the 80s and 90s guys,
Yeah.
we never looked at our fats. And when I interview anybody like Ronnie Coleman or anybody, they go, I didn't count fats. But today, fats are like...
When you say didn't count fats, was it just a low-fat diet or...
Yeah, there's the focus on the carbohydrates, the pasta, the potatoes, the rice, and the meats.
Yeah.
That's what we're focused on.
Yeah.
Today, it seems like
But red meat has a lot of fats.
fats are like the ultimate superfood or something to people. Can you explain that?
Yeah.
They are. You can't make testosterone without fat. Of course. Bodybuilders don't need to make testosterone. They have the fake, synthetic, poisonous testosterone that they inject themselves with. which makes their testicles shrink because it's not natural. Of course, they don't need fats, but a normal person who wants to live past their 50s, fats are the superfood. If they weren't taking testosterone artificially, they would need fats too. But of course, they don't need it because you take fake testosterone.
I don't necessarily believe that to be true. I think that what's
Well, yeah, you don't look like you eat any fats. Those wrinkles, the just she looks like a stick, just skin and bone.
happened is, you know, it's interesting. I was
Her energy is probably low all the time. She probably has zero libido. She's also probably infertile.
talking to someone earlier,
She should eat some raw cream.
and
Or raw butter.
protein, I believe, is really the ultimate. It's essential, right? You need it not just for muscle, but for all body turnover, whether
Well, you need protein and fats. You would die from protein if you would somehow just eat protein only. You would die from that because you would be deficient in fat.
it's liver, kidney, everything, all your tissues, which are constantly turning over. Not only that, in starvation, if you run out of muscle, you die.
That's not a good thing.
You die. So you're living forever. Good
Right.
news.
Good news.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not-
yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
You know, and then, so in terms of essential nutrients, protein, I think, is paramount.
Okay.
Essential fatty acids, you don't need that many. In
You
terms
do
of it
need a
being
lot.
superfood, I
It is
would be hesitant to say that that is true. I personally don't have any input on that because I don't necessarily believe it.
well, you don't look like you believe it. I mean, I bet she doesn't believe it. Look at that neck, like skin to bone. She looks like she's gonna get blown away with the wind. She's definitely infertile. When you're this low on fats, you're gonna be infertile because your body thinks, oh my god, there isn't any food, I'm starving. The body isn't ready to create an offspring. You're gonna be infertile, it just has to be that way.
You know, and then you've got carbohydrates, which everyone is afraid of. But I would say in society now, it's always like people are hating.
So we just finished one movie. It turned out great. I am loving it. I love the dailies that we see.
Oh my god. Oh my god, look at that
It
skin.
turned out great. I am loving
Look at the skin. This is a 60-year-old skin.
it. I love the
Oh,
dailies that we
that's-
see. On to the next.
The Imagine being like that constantly. The miserable life. I get uncomfortable listening to it.
Project. You finish, you keep going, keep trying to go. That's, I guess, a better way to say it. And this next movie that I have booked,
Man, this
this
guy's
is
gonna
gonna take all of
die.
it. This is gonna
This
take
guy's gonna die.
sliced to the bone, all the character development, but also I need to be able to move and grow and keep that strength through this process. You'll understand why that is after you see the movie, but keeping the strength is key when you're dieting. And so I'm going to show you how to do that on Power Bodybuilding. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you over there.
Hating on carbs, or they're hating on fat, or they're loving fat and hating on carbs. And then protein now is the new evil villain.
Yeah. It
Which
seems like-
which is weird because from your bodybuilding perspective, it's always been paramount. Did anyone ever villainize it?
Not in our day. Not in our day.
Well, of course, protein or fats or carbohydrates, none of these are villains. Eating unnaturally, that's the villain. If you're eating a pomegranate for carbohydrates, then it's fine. It's good. You get vitamin C, some minerals depending on the pomegranate, how it was grown, how the the soil of the tree. Nowadays, the soil is really deficient in nutrients because of all the fertilizers and monocropping, but still, it's going to be so much better than any refined carbs or grains. And if you're eating, for example, chickpeas for protein, then that's terrible. If you're eating any kind of meat, that's good. If you're eating seed oils as fats, that's terrible. If you're eating raw butter, that's amazing.
Like ever.
Yeah,
And this guy looks brain damaged too.
it's
Well, he has to be. It's been proven over and over again that steroids decrease your IQ.
a weird thing, and I'm still trying to get the bridge between my world and their world, and I'm trying to figure out how to talk to them to understand, first of all, what they're talking about, because I think,
Yeah.
in my belief, is most people's metabolisms are not functioning at a good capability because of the fact they're just always in a deficit. They're eating bad, or they eat once a day, or they eat at the wrong times. But I
Wrong
believe
times?
that
What
carbohydrate.
do you mean? You need to eat when your body craves to eat. You should only eat food that is natural, and then your body is gonna just be in the correct position to make the decision of eating it. Like, your cravings are gonna be correct when you eat naturally. When you eat all sorts of drugs and poison, your body's cravings are gonna be messed up. You're gonna constantly want to eat. You're gonna want to eat wrong stuff like chocolate, sugar, whatever other poison. Potatoes.
Is something that is fun to play with. You know, if you're going to diet down for something,
Yeah.
your class reunion, a photo shoot, a wedding, whatever it is, play with your carbohydrates for those 3 months. And then after that, get them back in there to where you can function again,
Yeah.
and that you don't turn your body against them and
Yeah.
shut them down.
Yeah.
Because when you do go back to it, it's like
Yes.
a bodybuilder.
Yes.
You blow up like a balloon, and then they go,
Yes.
"Oh, it's my metabolism." No, it's not. You just taught your body to do something.
Yeah.
And so, how do we bridge that and try to explain that to them, that obviously too much of everything is not a good thing,
Yeah.
but also a deficit is not a good thing.
Yeah. You know,
They're just talking about
Well, I mean,
absolute
definitely-
nothingness. What are you talking about? Number one superfood? What's the number one superfood? Protein? Protein is not a food. Protein is something that's inside food. If you would say red meat is superfood, that's correct. But if you say protein is superfood, well, gluten is protein too. You know that, right? Depends on what kind of protein, and depends on other stuff that's in the food. These people are actually stupid. Well, we can see that she's stupid. When you're this low on body fat, your brain is not going to function. Your brain is made of fat.
putting an individual in an extreme deficit over a long period of time, I think one of the things that really separates those that do really well is long-term thinking. And it's not about being a one-hit wonder and being in shape for one moment.
And what are
but
you talking about?
removing carbs or like you can eat a variety of different foods, and as long as you're training, you have a lot of flexibility of what.
What do you mean? Training is just destroying your body. What are you talking about? If you're weight loss, that's what she's talking about. As in, if you train enough, you can eat whatever and not gain weight. That can be true if you're an absolute slave like David Goggins, but if you're a normal person who wants to function, who wants to be fertile, who wants to have healthy children, who wants to be mentally stable, not an insano like David Goggins, then you need to eat correctly, not ridiculous garbage food. They're just talking
Anybody
about
I've ever
nothing
worked
to...
with in 40 years. Any
Again, the one big thing for me is I'm keeping track of it. It's so
You don't need to keep track of anything at all. Blood work is meaningless. I got my blood work done doctors were like, oh, you're gonna get sick, but the numbers on the paper show that you're gonna get sick. It is very bad. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, you pussy. Afraid of eating the natural foods that you're supposed to eat. Telling me to eat less meat. Fuck off. Fuck off. And all these people who tell me to eat less meat look like they have these narrow skulls, absolutely malnourished, full of makeup if they're female, if they're male, full of acne, disgusting face. Yeah. And these guys are just talking about nothing, so it makes me mad. It makes me mad. Look at that belly, man. You look disgusting. Your guts, you're gonna die. Boobs, these don't look masculine. Who thinks these look masculine? Nothing here looks masculine. These are boobs, breasts. You have boobs, you have big tits. Looks disgusting. You're gross. It's disgusting. Stop. Stop it. You look disgusting. Stop it now. Please. Oh my god. These bodybuilders, look at this shit. Oh my god. They all look extremely abnormal. Like, just ask a girl if she likes this. Oh, you have nice tits. Oh, you have the huge guts. My god, this guy's gonna die. It's so disgusting, so pathetic. Least masculine thing ever. This, gross.